Hi guys, welcome to the channel. So in the previous video we discussed about the methods of electrostatic charging. So in this particular video we are going to first discuss about the topic of quantization of charge. Now we know that with this part we have this particular point we have studied under the topic of properties of charge. This is one of the properties of a charge, right? So right now we are going to discuss this point in a elaborate manner. Now suppose we have any kind of a body, okay, we have a particular kind of a body. Now what happens, this particular body is having some amount of charge q, okay. Now this particular charge q, the value of this charge q cannot be any random value, okay. What this quantization of charge says, that whatever the amount of charge this body is carrying, that is q, so this particular value of q cannot be any random value, or you can say body cannot have any amount of charge q which it likes. So it is atom, that is indivisible particle. We say that atom is an indivisible particle, right? And we say that an electron carries a specific amount of charge also. So this is the basic reason why we call these things. This we are going to study in elaborate way. So first of all, suppose we have an electron, right? We have an electron. So this electron is going to carry a minimum value of charge. So this electron carries the value of charge equals to 1.6 into 10 raised to power minus 19 coulomb, okay. Coulomb is the unit of charge. Coulomb is the unit of charge. So basically what happens here is that this particular amount of charge, this is the minimum charge capable of its free existence. So this is the minimum amount of charge which can exist freely. So basically what all you have to understand from here is that the minimum amount of charge capable of its free existence. So the minimum amount of charge which can exist freely is the charge carried by electron and the value is this one, okay. This is the first point which you have to understand. And remaining all the bodies which are carrying charge, they will be having, suppose they are having some value of charge equals to q. So the value of this q will be integral multiple of this E, this particular charge. So what happens, if we want to say that a particular body is having some amount of charge, that amount of charge q will be integral multiple of this value. That means what, here n can be 1, 2, 3 and so on. It's better if you write it like this, plus minus n e. So here n can be any natural number and q will be equals to plus minus n e. Q can be the charge carried by any of the bodies. So q will be the charge carried by a body n will be any integer and e will be this value, right? Charge carried by electron. This is a minimum charge value which can exist freely. So basically this is a property of charge, that is, it is not continuous. The value of charge carried by any of the bodies is not continuous. It exists as discrete quanta, okay. So it exists as discrete quanta. We have some discrete value, so we can have either value of 1.6 into 10 raised to power minus 19 coulomb, right? We can have the value of Q is equals to 2 multiplied by 1.6 into 10 raised to power minus 19 coulomb or minus 2, or here you can have any other integer also. So you will be having the value of charge as integral multiple of this value. So this is a very basic property of charge, that it has discrete values and not continuous values, right? So any body cannot have any amount of charge. It can have any discrete amount of charge, and that discrete amount will follow this relation, that is Q is equals to plus minus N E. So now we are going to discuss about a new topic, that is Coulomb's law. You can write the statement by your own. I am just going to tell you what is this Coulomb's law. Now suppose we have two charged bodies, Q1 and Q2. These are the two charged bodies, and the distance between these two bodies is small r. Now because these two are charged bodies, they will be exerting some force on each other. So the force will be dependent on these two charges, magnitude of these two charges also, and the distance between these two charges also. So how they will be dependent? Basically, force will be inversely proportional to the square of distance between them, and force will be directly proportional to the magnitude of these two charges. So you have to consider only the magnitude here, okay? Now if we look at these two relations, then we can say that force will be proportional to Q1 Q2, magnitude of Q1 Q2 upon R square. If we want to remove proportionality sign, then we have to introduce some constant. So this constant will be small k, and it will be k Q1 Q2 upon R square. So basically force between these two charges will be given by this relation, F is equals to k Q1 Q2 by R square. Now if we talk about the SI unit of this k, so first of all you know that force is in Newton, right? Charges have the unit of coulomb, right? And distance has unit of meter. So if we want to look for the unit of k, so if we take k to this side, F is there here, these Q1 and Q2 will go here, right? These are up. So if we take it to the left hand side, they will be down. This R square will be up. Now if we want to look at the units of this k, so it will be what? K is equals to R square. Unit of R square will be meter square. Force is in Newton, Q1 and Q2, coulomb square. So units of k will be Newton meter square per coulomb square, right? How we did that? Just see here in this equation, what I have done is equals to is here, k is here. Now we want to get the units of k, so remaining all the things have to go this side, left side. So because Q1 Q2 are in the numerator, they will go in the denominator. R square is in the denominator, it will go in the numerator. So now if you want to look for the units of k, then it will be what? R square means distance. So distance is in meters, so R square, units of R square will be meter square. F will be Newton. Q1 and Q2 both are having units of coulomb and coulomb, so it is coulomb square. So units of k is Newton meter square per coulomb square, right? Now also one more thing, that this value of k is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Now what is this epsilon naught? This is your permittivity constant. Okay, this is very important thing, that this k is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. This value of constant is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, where your epsilon naught is permittivity constant, and we are going to use this epsilon naught when Q1 and Q2, and this whole isolated system is in vacuum. When we are talking about the system which is in vacuum, then we are going to use this epsilon naught. Okay, so basically force between these two charges will be what? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into q1 q2 by r square. So this is the main formula. Basically what I have done in this formula, I have put the value of k 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught remaining q1 q2 by r square. So this is the formula which we are going to use. Also one more thing, approximately the value of this 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught is equals to 9 into 10 raised to power 9 Newton meter square per coulomb square. This is the unit of k. So this is the value of 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, approximate value of 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. This you have to learn, this you have to memorize. Now we are talking here only about the system which is in vacuum. We are not discussing about the system which is having some medium. Now what about the system which is having some medium? That we will discuss in next video. Also we will continue with the topic of Coulomb's law, and we will try to cover up the topic of Coulomb's law in vector form as well. So I hope till now these two things are clear to you. What is quantization of charge? That is, charge on a body is discrete. The value of charge possessed by a body, charge which is there on a body, is discrete. It is not continuous. We cannot have random values of charge on a body. Also, what is Coulomb's law? If we are having two charges separated by some distance, then the force between them will be given by this formula. Okay, we have discussed Coulomb's law right now when the system is in vacuum. In the next video we will discuss what to do when the system is not in vacuum and is having some medium. Also we will discuss about the Coulomb's law in vector form. So far I hope this video was helpful for you. So far that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching.